Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Ali Pali for the final of this year's Masters Snooker live on Eurosport between the defending champion Ronnie Sullivan and the 9th seed of Joe Perry. Hello, good to see you again. The Rocket Ronnie Sullivan in a 12th final, looking for a record-breaking 7th Masters title as well, up against a player that's never been there before. On paper, it all points towards one direction. But we know in snooker, it's never always that simple. Alongside me, as always have been, since Sunday afternoon, are the Thelma and Louise of the snooker world. It's Jimmy White and Neil Foulds. Jimmy looked happy. Neil didn't look happy with that analogy. Good to see you as always, lads. It's finals day as well. We'll get very excited about it. I feel a little bit different when I woke up this morning because we're at the final now. I'm guessing the players do as well, Jimmy.
Yeah, you know, like it's the last match of the day, and you've got the favourite in it, and the defending champion Ronnie O'Sullivan going for a record seven titles. So very exciting stuff.
OK, Neil, let's remind ourselves of how the players got here. Two contrasting semi-finals for so many different reasons as well. We've got to talk about Ronnie and Tipgate getting past Marco Fu, man of the week. An interesting semi-final as well. The interval came a little bit early, but in the end, finally, actually, for the first time this week, Ronnie produced the goods that we know and love.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I wasn't fancying Ronnie 2-1 down with a tip that clearly wasn't any good. You know, it must have been so bad that he had to take it off and put a new one on. That's quite a dramatic thing to do, and something of a real gamble at the time. You know, he was uncomfortable, but I don't think there are too many other players who could have played the way that he did. Anyone that's played snooker to a high level will realise changing the tip is not something you do during a match. You know, I mean, he is a genius, O'Sullivan. There's no getting away from it, and that was wonderful at the end. You know, Marco was great in defeat. He's a class act.
Yeah.
It was a gamble which worked.
Yeah, and we saw Joe late last night as well, another classic here in the Masters. 6-5 winner over Barry Hawkins. Barry will be bitterly disappointed from 5-2 up. He didn't take full advantage of opportunities that he's had, but Joe Perry, that match-winning break at the end, a break of 70, one of the best clearances I've seen, actually, Jimmy, in a long, long time.
He's 5-2 down, he needs a snooker, he's more or less going home, and then he makes he's 50 behind in this side and makes a 70 clearance. That brown he potted was just top draw, and then he pots the blue here and he gives a kiss to his suffering dad all these years, been watching him. But he had a great tournament, Joe Perry, and he started off, he come in the studio after his first match, said he didn't care if he won or lost, fed up with practicing, and now 2 matches later he's in the final of the Masters. He must be absolutely buzzing.
He is in the final indeed, and buzzing, I'm sure he is. This is how both players made it through to the last two. Remember, they're playing for £200,000 as well. It's the first to 10. We'll hear a bit later on from Joe Perry in today's programme, but first we can hear from the defending champion, Ronnie O'Sullivan, who caught up with Neil Foulds earlier on.
Ronnie, your 12th Masters final. You're bidding for your 7th title. I was looking at the prize money. You've picked up 1.6 million in Masters alone, snooker, which is quite good. I don't think the money means that much to you when it comes to a tournament with such prestige. No,
not at all. You're never really thinking about money when you're out there playing. You're just thinking of competing, enjoying it, and you know, to experience occasions like this and be on top of your game. You know, it's a dream come true, really. So I know I'm really lucky to have that opportunity, and you just try and cherish every opportunity you get out there. You know.
And it's a big event in London. It's a one-table setup. I know you've been playing the game a long time, but you must get a buzz when that roar goes up when you come out and play.
Yeah, I mean, this is unbelievable, this venue. Now, you know, it's like they've made it bigger this year and noticeably bigger, and I think you could probably get more seats in than just over 2,000 people in now in London. They really get behind every player, especially me, you know, because I'm from around the corner. And I've had great support wherever I go, but here it just feels like, you know, they really come out and support me really well. So I always try to pay them back with some good performances if I can.
What about your game? You looked so pleased to get to another final.
Yeah.
You played the informed man Marco Fu
yeah.
on the last tournament. I haven't seen you quite so happy about winning for a long time.
Well, because obviously I was really... I knew Marco was playing well, and I knew it was a big match, and you just think, you know, I want to make them count, you know, when you get in the big tournaments in the final latter stages, you know, you don't know how many Masters opportunities you're going to get to win at my age, so, you know, a little bit pressure more, because you think, I've got to make this one count, this could be my last one. So, yeah, it was a great moment for me, really.
And a word about Joe Perry, who is your opponent in the final. I guess not everyone's idea of a finalist, probably one of the biggest matches he's ever played, and your record against him is very good. You won the last 7 matches against him, but it's a different story, perhaps.
Yeah, I didn't know that, you know, and I know I didn't know my record was as good as it was against Joe. All I know is Joe's a very, very good player, and I've had some fantastic matches with him. Massive respect for Joe. He's a real tough match player, and another one of the players that's benefited from playing a lot more tournaments. And you know, he's a real sharp player. So you know, he beat Ding 6-0. I mean, and he's on his game. So you know, it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, Ronnie has a very good record against Joe Perry. In fact, the last time Joe beat Ronnie was way back in 2008. It was the second round of the UK, and he beat him by 9 frames to 5. He'll need one more frame today if he's going to have to become Masters champion. We can actually hear now from Joe, because Phil Studd caught up with him not long after that dramatic final frame decider last night.
Well, Joe, Alexandra Palace is deserted now, but it was only an hour or so ago that this place was absolutely rocking for that final frame decider. Where would you rank the break you put together under the most extreme pressure in your career?
When I got the chance, I just sort of, right, this is it. This is the one chance you've been waiting for, so make the most of it. And if I'd left myself something that was, like, impossible, I would have played safe. But anything that was, like, sort of 50-50 or better in my favour, I was going to take it on. And, you know, there was no way I was playing safe there.
And your dad, Peter, was going through all sorts of emotions out there. He was on his feet, and, of course, you blew a kiss as you potted match ball blue. That must have been a special moment, because he's followed your career so closely.
Oh, yeah. You know, without him and my mum, I wouldn't be here playing, you know. They supported me in the very early days. I think I was pro 4 or 5 years before I picked up a cheque. So, you know, the money doesn't grow on trees. So, yeah, I owe pretty much near enough everything to them. So for me to revel in that moment and enjoy it, I'm sure he gets as much satisfaction out of that as what I do.
But now the challenge is to try and get some sleep and prepare for what is ahead, which is a Masters final showdown with Ronnie O'Sullivan. What an opportunity. Is this the biggest match of your life?
Yeah, this is the big moment in my career so far, and it's the toughest challenge. Ronnie in the final of the Masters doesn't get any tougher than that, but it's one that I'm glad I've got. You know, no disrespect to any other player, but if you're going to get to a Masters final, I think you want to be playing Ronnie O'Sullivan. And
it's a strange game, this game of snooker, isn't it? Because I know you came here with very low expectations. You'd had a few poor results. Your form hadn't been great. And yet, you know, you've demolished Bingham, former world champion. You've demolished Ding, former Masters champion, twice UK champion. And now you've got the chance to topple O'Sullivan.
Yeah, I've never been one for thinking, you know, maybe it is my week, maybe it's written in the stars and all that. You know, you have to go out and pot the balls, you have to win. But after tonight, you know, it does seem quite weird that, you know, I've come here with absolutely no form. I made a sweeping comment that I didn't care when I played Bingham. I did care. I just wasn't going to, like, be disappointed if I played bad again, because that's how I've been playing for months. So it is very weird the way the week's worked out, and still one big match to play.
Yeah, massive match, says Joe on the practice table. Jimmy, let me ask you, obviously the underdog going into this match, but I just wonder how much that break last night, that match-winning break, how much confidence that would have given him, proving to him that he can do it on the big stage when he needs to.
Yeah, he can do it, and he won a big tournament. He won his first ranking tournament last year in Thailand. He beat Mark Williams 3-0 down and won the final. Listen, he's up for none now. He should have gone out last night. He come here in the first match, didn't care if he won or lost in the final. But, you know, to beat O'Sullivan, he's got to play the snooker of his life.
Yeah, and talking of snooker of their life, we've seen it many a time from the Rocket, defending champion. I mean, you could go on about the history this guy can make, not just today, Neil, but throughout the rest of his career. It's a 12th final. It will be a 7th Masters victory. And the way he played in his last match, if he continues that form, do you see only one winner tonight?
I think he'll probably win. I'll be very surprised if things go against him. We never quite know what we're going to get. I'm assuming his tip's okay now. I mean, obviously it looked okay yesterday, but today's another day. You know, he has lost in these finals. It would be quite nice, because you've got this sort of who's the best, Hendry or Sullivan. I think they're both fantastic snooker players, but Ronnie's now racking up big numbers. He'll go past Hendry, and that will make the Hendry people think, maybe, hang on, maybe Ronnie is the best after.
Yeah. Let's talk about the game coming up this afternoon. We've got 4 frames till that mid-session interval. We've spoken so many times about you can't win the match in the first 4, but you can certainly lose it. That will be on Joe's mind, the fact that he doesn't want to go in 3-1. He wants to go in, of course, worst way at 2-2, but 4-0, that would be horrific, wouldn't it?
4-0, it's all over, you know, and as Neil's pointed out a couple of times this week, Ronnie O'Sullivan is the best front runner there is. He knows how to put them away. He knows how to run to the winning line. So Joe Perry, for me, to have any chance, got to be 2 each. Even if Joe's 3-1 up, I still fancy Ronnie.
Neil, just briefly as well, you've played, when you were on the circuit, you've played, you know, the greatest players that have ever lived, Jimmy, Steve Davis and so on. Do you change the way you play to try and aggravate them during a match or not?
That was never my way of playing. I have to admit, I just didn't see the value in that because I think you can get to yourself. That's not going to be a part of the game today. You know, Joe, when he's right, he's a very fine player. There's no doubt about that, and he can beat Ronnie O'Sullivan. I personally don't think he will either. But he's going to have to play a bit better than he did last night when he was down to 75% at one point, pot success. So last night, he's just got to climb a mountain today, I think, having done so last night. I don't think he'll be changing anything.
Jimmy, he'll be buzzing, obviously, Joe, because he's in the final. But let's not forget, it was a late finish last night, around about 20 to 12. He was here doing stuff for press and so on. God knows what time he would have left, but it would certainly been in the early hours. Will he be tired? Will he be out there with that hit?
No, the adrenaline going through his body, you know, he will be absolutely flying. You know, he's in the final of the Masters playing Ronnie O'Sullivan. Don't get no better than that.
OK, well, it should be a fascinating final. The first of 10 will be crowned Masters champion. Any questions you got for the boys? Of course, we have a bit of fun at the interval on the practice table, and we'll go through your questions. Use the hashtag AskJimmy. Your commentators for our first session are Philip Studd and Joe Johnson, and you'll be hearing them right after Rob Walker brings the players into the arena.